Hey YouTube, I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple projects today. First of all, I'm going to go just do a separate video here and go over my onboard air system, because although I did do a video on that a couple nights ago, it didn't turn out very well. I'm going to keep part of that. I'm going to keep the part of that where I show it actually running. I'm not going to start it up right now because I did get some okay video of that. I pump up my tire with it. But in that video it was getting dark out, so you couldn't really see much of it, and I didn't really go into much detail anyway on how it works. So I'm going to pretty much go into exactly how I have this hooked up. So first of all, this is the factory compressor. I know it's kind of hard to see, the sun just came out and it's reflecting here. But this is the factory AC compressor. I believe it's an R4 by Harrison. Yeah, Harrison. It sort of works. These R4s are piles of garbage, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one until it goes, and then I'll put a good one in, like a Shannon or maybe a York or something. But who knows, if this thing lasts as long as the truck lasts, then I won't have to worry about it. But anyway, so I've seen very few people who've tried to hook it up in this particular vehicle. This is a 1990 Silverado. And I think that's probably because, unlike the Sandons, this thing doesn't have a really easy way to hook up other hoses. In this one, I actually had to use some hose barbs. I believe this is the intake. The intake on the compressor is the thicker hose, so I just leave the factory hoses connected to the back and I just cut them off. And I believe that's a 5/8 inch hose barb that I used in there. And then on the output, the thinner hose, I believe... I want to say that was a 1/4 inch inside diameter, but I'm not positive on that. It might have actually been 3/8. If I figure it out, I'll post that in the description at the bottom of the video. Anyway, on the intake, I have a basic air tool oiler. This does not work very well. I'm constantly having to put oil in here to keep this compressor going. And then just a couple reducers and fittings to get it to the hose barb. There, it picks up the oil, whether I pour it in, whether it's from the oiler, into the compressor. And that comes out through the output. And if you can see this, it goes into a T down there. One part of the T goes into two places. One goes in back, there's a hose leading in back. And I also have a hose coming right up out front. Then I have a quick coupler up here. Now, okay, I'm not going to be able to show it because it's really hard to see, but attached to the T there is a one-way valve, so the air does not backflow into the compressor. That's very important because that way you're not losing your air pressure when the compressor's not running. Now, to hook up the clutch, I tested the clutch first and it works. Not great, but it does work. To hook up the clutch, this is my ground wire here. This is just hooked up to a grounding point on the sheet metal of the body. And then the fuses are right here. I need to mount this better. Sorry about that, my camera died. Alright, I was talking about the fuses. I think that's where I left off. So I just have a 15 amp fuse. There's a switch in the cab. I'm not going to bother showing that because we all know what a switch looks like. And then I have a pressure switch on the tank. Pressure switch kicks on at 90 and kicks off at 120. And so that's the basic system. I turn on the switch, pressure switch engages the clutch, the compressor pumps it up to 120, and then it disengages the clutch. I'll just kind of show what I have in back here. This is the back. You can see the tank, that's 10 gallons. You can see the splitter on top. It's where the pressure switch. I have a pressure gauge on there. I have a blow-off valve that goes off at 135, and an output for this. And this is just a 25-foot hose. Quick connect on the end of that. Can hook up a tire chuck or air tools or whatever I need to hook up. So anyway, that's the whole system. You can kind of see where the cable, well, it's hard to see with the sunlight. You can kind of see where the cables and hose come out. I just run them through the back window of the topper, and they go underneath. They're all covered. Everything I cover in this tubing keeps it safe from the heat and the salt and whatever other crap we get up from the roads here in Wisconsin. So that's the system. It's actually not too hard to hook up. The major problem was finding all the proper reducers for the threads, because the compressor wasn't necessarily standard fittings per se, so I had to improvise a little bit. The one on the small hose actually I could not find, so I had to use one that's one size larger than it should be. But it works okay. Once the compressor seizes up, which I'm sure it will, because these R4s are notorious for that, even in air conditioning applications, not onboard air applications. They're pretty notorious for that. Once it does seize up, I will either the truck will be at the end of its lifespan by that point, which probably won't be more than a few more years, or I'll put in a better compressor, a Sand, and probably not a York. That'd be hard to fit in here. But anyway, so that's the system. That's how you hook one of these up. I can't say I'd have anything to say that's bad about it, other than the fact that the R4 compressors are not very good. So anyway, that's it. Next I'm going to show you dual battery setup that I'm going to do. So I need to get my stuff together for that, and see, this is what I have right now. Single battery. So anyway, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.